November 22nd, 1963, Dallas, Texas. A sunny Friday afternoon that changed the course of history. President John F. Kennedy, just 46 years old, rode through Dealey Plaza in an open-top motorcade. Moments later, gunfire shattered the air. The world watched in shock as a young, charismatic leader, a symbol of hope and progress, was gone. 60 years later, the question still lingers. Who killed JFK? Was it the act of a lone gunman, or something far larger, a web of secrets buried beneath layers of politics, power, and Cold War paranoia? Today, we explore not just the event, but why the mystery endures. The promise of a president. To understand why Kennedy's death shook the world so deeply, we first have to remember what he represented. Elected in 1960, John Fitzgerald Kennedy was the youngest man ever elected President of the United States, and the first Catholic. His speeches inspired a generation. Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. At the height of the Cold War, he faced the Cuban Missile Crisis, stared down nuclear annihilation, and began America's journey to the moon. To millions, JFK symbolized renewal, youth, idealism, and the belief that America's best days lay ahead. But behind that shining image were deep divisions. The early 1960s were turbulent. The civil rights movement, tension over Cuba, fear of communism, and growing mistrust within Washington's intelligence circles. By late 1963, Kennedy's enemies were many. Segregationists who saw him as too liberal, anti-Castro militants who felt betrayed after the Bay of Pigs, and powerful figures uneasy about his policies toward the Soviet Union. He was admired, but also feared. November 22nd, 1963, Dallas, Texas, 12:30 p.m. The motorcade turns onto Elm Street, passing the Texas School Book Depository. In just 6 seconds, 3 shots ring out. President Kennedy slumps forward. Governor Connally, seated in front, is also hit. The motorcade speeds toward Parkland Hospital, but it's too late. At 1 p.m., President Kennedy is pronounced dead. Within hours, Lee Harvey Oswald, a 24-year-old former Marine who once defected to the Soviet Union, is arrested for the shooting. 2 days later, before he can stand trial, Oswald is shot and killed on live television by Jack Ruby, a Dallas nightclub owner. And with that, the assassin is silenced, and the door to endless speculation is thrown open. The official story. In 1964, the Warren Commission, led by Chief Justice Earl Warren, concluded that Oswald acted alone. They stated that Oswald fired 3 shots from the 6th floor of the book depository. The fatal shot struck Kennedy in the head. No evidence linked Oswald to any conspiracy. This was the official version taught in schools and printed in newspapers. But from the beginning, many doubted it. How could one man, using a bolt-action rifle, fire 3 shots so quickly and accurately? Why were eyewitness accounts so inconsistent? And how could Oswald, a man under FBI watch, act unnoticed? The lone gunman theory answered the surface question, but not the deeper one. Part 4. The birth of the conspiracy. The skepticism grew almost immediately. The televised murder of Oswald made the story feel unreal, as if someone were tying up loose ends. In the years that followed, dozens of alternative theories emerged. Each one reflected a different anxiety of the Cold War world. Theory 1, the CIA. Some believed Kennedy had angered the CIA after the Bay of Pigs failure, when he refused to provide air support for the anti-Castro invasion. He reportedly vowed to splinter the CIA into 1,000 pieces. Could the agency have turned against him? Theory 2, the Mafia. Organized crime bosses had reasons for revenge. The Kennedy administration, led by Attorney General Robert Kennedy, had aggressively targeted the mob. At the same time, some mafia figures were involved in anti-Castro operations with the CIA. Was the assassination an act of payback, or a tangled partnership gone wrong? Theory 3. Cuba or the Soviet Union. Oswald's past fueled suspicion. He had defected to the USSR, married a Russian woman, and openly supported Fidel Castro. Could he have been acting on foreign orders, a pawn in Cold War politics? Theory 4. The military-industrial complex. President Kennedy had spoken of pursuing peace with the Soviet Union and withdrawing from Vietnam. To his critics, he was endangering America's global dominance. To his supporters, he was a visionary trying to escape the spiral of perpetual war. When the bullets flew in Dallas, many wondered, was this the moment the dream of peace died? The House Committee and new evidence. In the 1970s, distrust of government reached new heights after Watergate and the Pentagon Papers. Public pressure forced Congress to reopen the JFK investigation. In 1979, the House Select Committee on Assassinations concluded that there was a high probability that 2 gunmen fired at President Kennedy. They cited acoustic evidence from a police radio recording. Though later disputed, this statement reignited belief in a conspiracy. The committee also criticized the FBI and CIA for withholding evidence from the Warren Commission. It wasn't proof, but it was enough to make people ask new questions. The culture of doubt. The JFK assassination became more than a case. It became a symbol. In a decade filled with assassinations of Martin Luther King Jr., Robert Kennedy, and Malcolm X, Americans began to doubt the official story of anything. Hollywood reflected this mood. Films like Oliver Stone's JFK turned the case into a modern myth, part history, part warning. Books, documentaries, and endless theories kept the debate alive. The details blurred, but the emotion remained the same. People felt something larger than one man's actions had ended in Dallas, that a moment of national innocence was lost forever. What we know now. In the decades since, thousands of documents have been declassified. They reveal no single smoking gun, but they paint a more complicated picture. Oswald did purchase the rifle and was seen at the book depository. Ballistic evidence matches the shots fired. But intelligence agencies were indeed tracking him and failed to share information that might have prevented the tragedy. Some documents hint at deeper Cold War connections, others at bureaucratic confusion. In the end, history leaves us with facts and shadows. Even the Assassination Records Review Board, created in the 1990s, couldn't close the debate. They released over 5 million pages of files, yet key sections remain classified or redacted. Why, after 60 years, are some secrets still hidden? What's so dangerous about the truth or the myth of JFK's death? The legacy of the mystery. Perhaps the power of the JFK mystery lies not in the answer, but in what it represents. The assassination marked the end of an era, the point where faith in government began to erode. After Dallas, America grew more skeptical, more divided, more uncertain. It changed how citizens viewed power, how the media questioned authority, and how generations learned to doubt official narratives. Kennedy's death became the birthplace of modern conspiracy culture, long before the internet made such theories global. Every generation re-examines it, not just to find who fired the bullets, but to understand why truth itself can feel unreachable. Conclusion. So who killed John F. Kennedy? Was it a lone drifter seeking purpose in infamy? A web of intelligence and power silencing a visionary? Or a tragedy of coincidence magnified by mistrust? Perhaps the deeper truth is this: some events are too monumental for one explanation. The death of a leader who embodied hope left a wound, one filled by suspicion, not certainty. Decades later, we may never find all the answers. But in asking the question, we confront something larger: our own struggle to separate fact from belief, truth from myth, and history from memory. If you found this exploration insightful, give this video a like, share it with a friend, and subscribe to Timeless Questions channel for more deep dives into philosophy, history, and human nature.